Recite this King David prayer 7 times before your next major business deal. I am not asking you to be religious. I am not asking you to believe anything you do not already believe. I am asking you to use a specific psychological and strategic discipline that wealthy Jewish negotiators have used for almost 3,000 years, drawn directly from Tehillim, the Book of Psalms, and reinforced by the Talmud as a pre-deal preparation protocol. The prayer is short, the translation is direct, and the 7 repetitions, done correctly, will do something to your mind in the 20 minutes before you walk into that meeting that no other preparation method can replicate. Most negotiators today walk into deals from the parking lot. They check their phone, they straighten their tie, they walk in cold. The Talmud, in Tractate Bereshot, calls this the negotiation of a fool. The wise negotiator pauses. The wise negotiator centers. The wise negotiator recites. Let me say this very directly. This is not motivational nonsense. This is a psalm written by a king who built one of the wealthiest kingdoms in the ancient world, used by Jewish merchants for thousands of years, and almost no business school graduate alive today has ever applied it. Let me tell you about the prayer. It is Psalm 20, written by King David, traditionally recited before any major undertaking. The Talmud, in Tractate Bereshot, chapter 5, instructs that this psalm should be said 7 times before a man enters into a significant negotiation, business agreement, or strategic decision. The number 7 is not arbitrary. The Talmud assigns specific significance to the 7th repetition, which is when the mind has stopped racing, the breath has slowed, and the negotiator has fully arrived in the room he is about to enter. I will give you the psalm in plain English in a moment. First, let me tell you why it works at a level conventional business preparation cannot reach. When you walk into a negotiation, 3 things are happening in your nervous system. Your sympathetic nervous system is activated. Your heart rate is up, your breath is shallow, your prefrontal cortex is partially compromised by stress hormones. Your mirror neurons are reading the other party's posture, micro-expressions, and tone in milliseconds. And your subconscious is racing through every possible outcome, every objection, every leverage point. This combination produces what poker players call tilt. You are no longer fully in control of your strategy. You are reacting. The Talmud's 7-fold recitation is, in effect, a psychological reset protocol. The repetition slows the breath. The familiar words quiet the racing mind. By the 7th recitation, the negotiator has moved from sympathetic activation into parasympathetic dominance, the state in which the prefrontal cortex is fully online, decisions are clearer, and the reading of the other party is sharper. This is not faith. This is biology. The Jewish tradition arrived at the protocol 3,000 years ago. Modern neuroscience is only now describing why it works. Here is the psalm. I am giving it to you in plain modern English, the way I have used it for 40 years before every major deal of my own. Pay attention. May the Lord answer you in the day of trouble. May the name of the God of Jacob set you on high. Right now, your money is exposed. Inflation, market crashes, economic collapse. Most people lose everything when it hits. Jewish billionaire families never do. For 3,000 years, they've used one Torah system to protect and multiply wealth through every crisis. That system is now in one book. Link in the description and first pinned comment. May he send help from his sanctuary and strengthen you from Zion. May he remember all your offerings and accept your sacrifices. May he grant you according to your heart and fulfill all your counsel. We will rejoice in your salvation, and in the name of our God, we will set up our banners. May the Lord fulfill all your petitions. Now I know that the Lord saves his anointed. He will answer him from his holy heaven with the saving strength of his right hand. Some trust in chariots and some in horses, but we will remember the name of the Lord our God. They are brought down and fallen, but we are risen and stand upright. Save, Lord. Let the King answer us in the day we call. That is the psalm. 8 verses. About 45 seconds to recite slowly. Read it again. Notice what it does to a businessman in the moments before a deal. It removes the illusion that the negotiator is acting alone. It frames the deal not as a battle of wills, but as a request for the right outcome. It explicitly references the contrast between those who trust in chariots and horses, the external power moves of the deal, and those who trust in something steadier. It ends with the petition that the king answer when called. Now let me tell you why a businessman recites this 7 times, not once. The Talmud, in Tractate Megillah, teaches a principle called Shev Pa'amim, 7 times, that applies whenever a sage prepared to address a difficult judgment. The first recitation is mechanical. The mind is still elsewhere. The second is performative. The third is when the words begin to land. By the 4th and 5th, the breath has settled. By the 6th, the mind has begun to release the panic of the upcoming meeting. By the 7th, the negotiator is fully present, fully grounded, and fully capable of reading the room he is about to enter. This is the state in which the wise negotiator should walk through the door, not after one hurried prayer in the parking lot, after 7, with time, with breath. Let me tell you a story, because the Talmud teaches by case studies. In 1999, I was preparing to enter a negotiation that would, if successful, change the trajectory of my career. The deal was for a stake in a small specialty manufacturer in New Jersey, valued at roughly $12 million. The other side was a sophisticated family with their own attorneys, their own accountants, and their own pre-arranged narrative about what the company was worth. I had prepared every spreadsheet. I had rehearsed every objection. The night before the meeting, I sat in my study with my Tehillim open to Psalm 20. I recited it 7 times, slowly. I noticed something I had never noticed before. By the 5th recitation, I realized that the entire frame I had built for the negotiation was wrong. I had been preparing to fight on the terms the other side had set. The psalm shifted me into a different frame entirely. I walked into the meeting the next morning at 9 sharp, and within 40 minutes I had restructured the deal so that it was based not on the other side's valuation. Every deal you've ever lost, every salary you didn't get, every contract that fell apart, happened because you didn't have this. For 3,000 years, Jewish billionaires have negotiated with 12 Talmud tactics that nobody taught you. I put every single one in one book, the Talmud Negotiation Bible. Link in the description and first pinned comment. Get it now, but on a productivity metric that benefited me. The deal closed at 8.7 million instead of 12. The other side believed they had won. They had not. I had reframed the entire conversation in those 7 repetitions the night before. The deal returned roughly $40 million over the following 12 years. The 7 repetitions were the cheapest preparation I have ever done. Let me give you a biblical example, because King David himself used this practice. Look at the story in Shmuel Aleph, the first book of Samuel, chapter 30. David has just returned to Ziklag and discovered that his city has been raided, his wives have been taken, and his men are turning against him. The text says, David strengthened himself in the Lord his God. That phrase, strengthened himself, is understood by the Talmudic commentary to refer to a series of repeated recitations. David did not simply pray once. He repeated the words until the panic released and the strategic clarity returned. He then led a successful counter-raid that recovered everything that had been taken. The most successful king in Israel's history, in the moment of greatest panic in his career, used the same 7-fold recitation discipline that I am teaching you now. Now let me give you the practical protocol. Pay attention. Step 1. The night before any major deal, a partnership negotiation, a fundraising pitch, a sales meeting with $1 million contract on the table, a hire that will reshape your team, sit alone in a quiet room. Write the psalm out on a piece of paper if you do not have a Tehillim. Read it aloud, slowly, 7 times. Do not rush. The first recitation should take a full minute. By the seventh, you should feel the breath has slowed and the mind has cleared. Step 2. The morning of the deal, 90 minutes before the meeting, recite the psalm 3 more times. 3, not 7. The night before recitations have already done the deep work. The morning 3 are calibrations. They reorient the mind that has been distracted by the morning routine. Step 3. In the final 10 minutes before walking into the room, sit in your car, in a chair outside the office, on a bench, anywhere quiet. Recite the psalm one final time, slowly, fully. The total protocol is therefore 11 recitations across roughly 12 hours. The 7 are the foundation. The 3 the next morning are the calibration. The one final recitation is the trigger that places you in the room as a negotiator who has prepared at a level the other side has not. I will tell you what you will notice within the first 3 deals you do this for. Your reading of the other party will be sharper. You will catch micro-expressions you missed before. You will notice when they are bluffing in a way you did not notice before. Your patience will increase. You will not feel pressured to fill silences. You will be willing to walk away from deals that, in the past, you would have accepted out of urgency. The cumulative effect on your deal quality across the next 12 months will be substantial. Now let me ask you 3 questions you need to answer this week. Question 1. Of the last 5 major deals or major decisions you made, how many were you fully prepared for at the level of breath, posture, and presence? Not just at the level of spreadsheets and arguments? My guess is 1 or 2. Most entrepreneurs are spreadsheet prepared and presence unprepared. The Talmud says this is half preparation. The other half, the psalm half, is what separates the wise negotiator from the fool. Question 2. Do you have any ritual at all that you perform before major decisions? Athletes have rituals before competition. Performers have rituals before the stage. Surgeons have rituals before operating. Almost no business person has a ritual before negotiations. Why not? The deal you are about to enter often involves more capital, more risk, and more lasting consequence than a single performance or game. It deserves a ritual. Question 3. The next major deal in your calendar. When is it? This week? Next week? Next month? Whatever the date, are you willing to commit right now to the 11 recitation protocol before that deal? The total time investment is roughly 30 minutes across 12 hours. The potential return is incalculable. Here is the executive summary. 3 sentences. Psalm 20, recited 7 times the night before, 3 times the morning of, and once immediately before the deal, is a Talmudically prescribed preparation protocol used by Jewish negotiators for almost 3,000 years. The repetition produces a parasympathetic shift that allows the prefrontal cortex to operate at full capacity in the moments before a high-stakes meeting. King David himself used this discipline before his most decisive battles, and the Talmud commentary on his life makes it explicit. Here is your call to action this week. Identify the most important deal, decision, or meeting you have on your calendar in the next 30 days. Write Psalm 20 out on a piece of paper. Place it where you will see it. The day before the meeting, recite it 7 times. The morning of the meeting, recite it 3 times. Just before the meeting, recite it once. Walk in. Notice what is different. Notice what you see that you would not have seen. Notice what you feel that you would not have felt. Then come back and do it for the next deal, then the next. Within 90 days, this protocol will be permanent. When I sat in my study in 1999 and recited the psalm for the first time before that $12 million negotiation, I had been a businessman for almost 20 years and a student of the Talmud for 30. I had read about Psalm 20 100 times. I had never applied it. The night I applied it for the first time, I understood why my grandfather, who had built a small textile fortune in Brooklyn from almost nothing, had kept his Tehillim on his desk every single day of his working life. The book was not decoration. The book was a tool. He used it before every deal. He had told me this many times. I had not listened. After that night in 1999, I have not entered a major deal in 26 years without the 11 recitation protocol. Not one. The Torah is not just a holy book. It is the oldest, most tested business manual in human history. Psalm 20 is one of its sharpest pages. And now you have the protocol. If this gave you the page you needed today, subscribe. Tomorrow, I am going to tell you the 3 items you must remove from your office before Monday morning. 3 specific objects. 3 specific reasons. The Rothschilds never had any of them in their workspaces, and the connection between their workspace discipline and their 200-year wealth is closer than you think.